lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Many times in our lives, we are affected by different people who come in and out. And there are some people who manage to find a place in our hearts and they stay forever. Tony Trapasso is one of those people. He will be in our hearts forever. Folks, when we lost our friend last week, it felt like a world had just shattered. Those of us at Sim Racing Media who knew Tony best are hurting and miss him more than words can describe. When you lose a friend that's a physical friend, you lose them physically. But when you lose a friend that's an emotional friend, your heart hurts 10 times more. Well, folks, we lost an emotional friend. As many of us in the iRacing community know, we oftentimes do not know each other in person. And Tony Trapasso was somebody who I never got to meet in person, but Uncle Tony, as my children know him, developed into one of my best friends on the face of the earth. We spoke, texted, or Discord chatted at least once a day. And I'm heartbroken not to be able to meet him in Miami this year. God had other plans for our friend. Tony Trapasso was our anchor here at Sim Racing Media. When someone couldn't make their broadcast, he would cover for them. The only times he couldn't make one of his shows was when he was too sick to do it. Tonight, we reflect on the good times. We meditate on the things that make us smile, because we all know that Tony Trapasso was a connoisseur of comedy. He wouldn't want us to sit here in tears. He would want us to wipe the tears from the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, and get to racing. So with that, I want to bid you all a warm welcome to Kansas Speedway in America's heartland. I'm Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, as I try to shift gears out of the melancholy hurt from our hearts, I want to thank everybody in the iRacing community that has reached out over the last week, since Tony's passing last week. And I want to tell all of you how much it means to us at Sim Racing Media. I would say it feels like when your starting quarterback gets hurt, but for those of you that watched Monday Night Football last night with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, that became a reality for the fans in New York. But, you know, some of the incredible support that we have gotten from different broadcast companies, the leagues that we cover, and sometimes just fans reaching out here in our youtube.com live chat that, you know, followed a race that Tony covered. You know, that's incredible to know how many people this man touched. And, I mean, insert pun there, because if Tony was here, he would absolutely have a pun. But, you know, he would want to be here at Kansas. Kansas is a great track. It's 1.5 miles. Tony, of course, was a dirt guy from his original upbringing from Oswego. But Jonathan Leach and I will be memorializing him this week, as I'm anxiously awaiting my friend John to get here into town. If this loss has done anything for us at Sim Racing Media, it has brought us closer together as a family. And when I say family, I really mean that. You know, we spend more time together sometimes than we do with our families on Thanksgiving. And it is just something so special that we share here at SRM, and that we share here in the Sunday Night NASCAR family of racing series. You know, from Cup Series, which of course Tony covered alongside Matt Metler on a Sunday. The Xfinity Series, which I have shepherded along for the last couple of years with my microphone, and of course here in the Truck Series on Tuesday night, in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series. And folks, I keep trying to dig myself out of this, and qualifying is just about complete. Of course, here we are in the round of 10, and I'll tell you what, this season has already been incredible to watch what's going on now. Right now, we're in the last race of the round of 10, so we're already looking, you know, for who it's going to be, you know, transferring into the round of 8. Of course, here in the trucks, we go 10, 8, and 4. Next week, we go to Bristol for some night racing on the asphalt in Bristol. Then we're off on September 26th, but back again at Talladega Super Speedway, which, of course, is my favorite speedway on earth, for the Love's RV Stop 250 on October 3rd. So a lot of exciting racing left to go here in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series. As always, you know, we're looking here at our point standings as I get those moved over here. Channing Ballou has 8 wins. Gabriel Lafreniere has 2. Jeremy Paris has 3. So, and that's just the top of the leaderboard. That top 10 includes Tony Burt, Brandon Minto, Sylvain Joly, the Boy King, Joseph Lester, John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, Aaron Mack in his number 31 Harbor Freight Chevrolet Silverado, Claude Ferland, our neighbor from the north, and as I had mentioned, Jeremy Paris, Gabriel Lafreniere, and Channing Ballou. So, oddly enough, this year, Chris Claude not making the playoff field. Stoney Benfield came about as close as anyone could to making that field. And actually, as I'm looking here, I do not see Stoney in the standings tonight, as right now we would be looking at about 16 cars getting ready to take the green flag. And speaking of Tonys, Tony Burt in the field tonight. But we just want to pull down right now here into the broadcast booth the chief cook and bottle washer of the SNN Cup Series, and really everything that has SNN associated with it, Mr. Chris Claude, Mr. Consistency himself. Hey, Chris, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I've got you, Dave.
Chris, I want to thank you for the opportunity this week to talk about our friend Tony, of course, having passed away last Tuesday. But, I know that at least the 3 series here, Cup, Xfinity, and now tonight in trucks, you've allowed me some latitude, which I feel like this is the only league that I can go into and pretty much say whatever I want to without getting fired. But I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for us at Sim Racing Media, and of course, letting us honor Tony the way we have.
Oh, absolutely. I think that the more that we can do, the better. I've really been touched myself just by all the outpouring of emotion from the entire league, and obviously from the guys at SRM, and even guys that I don't know have messaged me and just told me what a great guy that he was, and we're very lucky that we're able to be his friend. Hopefully, I know you were for certain, and I felt like I had a good rapport with him also, and very interesting to talk with him, and just a shame what happened, and it's not going to be easy for a while probably, but at least we do have all the great memories of him, and can look back with fondness on those.
Absolutely, and I know that Tony enjoyed calling Sunday Night NASCAR's Cup Series just because, one, I used to be in it, and it was just fun for him to sit there and poke fun at me. But, this league, as I was just telling the folks at home, is a lot like family. I mean, if you suddenly needed something, whatever it would be at home, hey, listen, I guess I'm on my way to Fairview, Tennessee, or if it was Jeff Carson and I'm on my way to Cross Junction, Virginia, it doesn't matter, because the distance doesn't exist in iRacing, because you're sitting several hundred miles away from me, but it sounds like we're sitting in the same room.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that just came to mind is, I had a conversation with Tony at one point, and I said, with the broadcasters, I've told them all, and I feel like that it will actually stick with you. Just call it as you see it as far as the races are concerned. If somebody goes up to make a mistake, if I make a mistake, and believe me, he held me to it. He made sure to get some knocks on me when I would have some error in judgments on the track. So, but going back to your point, though, I think it's really cool that that connection, everything does seem so intimate, for lack of a better word, that you are hundreds and sometimes thousands of miles from people, but yet it seems like you're a lot closer, and we talk all the time, and you get that bond that is very unique. And just the whole iRacing community in general is great, but especially when you can take it and drill that down to a league, and really have a group of guys that you would talk with all the time is a pretty special thing, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, and as I mentioned to you the other night off air, I mean, you're a key part of it. I mean, without the Bob Nestor connection and without Bob dragging me into iRacing in the first place, and us making the connection here in the Truck Series, of course, of all places, the Lady in Black, I wouldn't be sitting here in my broadcast booth. So, we want to thank you from SRM for allowing us the latitude this week, and of course, as always, being a faithful partner here with SRM. So, thank you, Chris, and it looks like warm-up is underway, so good luck and have fun.
I will.
That, of course, the great Chris Claude, driver of the number 10 Toyota Tundra. We'll have to take a look at that paint scheme tonight, because I know that it has changed a little bit over the last few weeks. I did want to check one thing here, as Tony Burt is sitting on the bubble. We want to take a quick minute. Hey, Tony, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Yeah.
Hey. Hi, fella. Listen, I see that you're on the bubble tonight for the transfer spot. I'm
I
pretty
am.
sure that you're going to have to drive the wheels off of that Chevrolet tonight.
I know it. I know. I'm worried about that. I think I got to finish in front of Minto.
You've got to finish. Yeah, it looks the way that the points are right now. It looks like you would have to finish in front of Minto. But
Yes.
I mean, listen, you could always finish in front of everybody and get that top step on the podium.
That's right. Amen.
I mean, listen, not that I strategize and I do try to remain unbiased, but of course, I am slanted. I am very slanted in your direction. But basically, if you can get that transfer spot, you've got an incredible shot there at Talladega.
That's right. It means everything, doesn't it?
If you can get the transfer spot tonight by finishing, ahead of Minto, and get yourself into the round of 8 and win at Talladega, you're in the Final Four.
Wow, that'd be great.
Not that I'm trying to speak it into existence or anything, but I'll name it and claim it right here.
Well, Kansas is a good track for me, so we'll see. Minto's strong. I don't know that I can beat Minto. He's so strong. I didn't realize I was in that bad a position, but I missed that one race and that really hurt me.
That's all right, buddy. Listen, good luck the rest of the way, and maybe we'll see you here making some points and making up some hay.
Sounds good, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good broadcast.
I'll always. Thank you, sir. As we send Tony Burt back up into the Jack Dowel Motorsports stable, we want to go ahead and bring this. I guess it's time that we take Tony's mug down from here. Appreciate you, buddy. I'll miss you, but I know that you're here with me in the booth. 67 degrees here under the lights at Kansas Speedway, 1.53 miles around this oval, 69 degrees on the asphalt, so not that bad. As we go through the night, it's going to cool down substantially, and I'll tell you what, that 69 degree temperature is going to affect these trucks and the grip that is in these tires as they boogie around this place. 134 scheduled laps when the green flag drops. Stage number 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 30. Stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 60. These drivers will have 5 total sets of tires with 4 changes. So we're looking at a tire window somewhere in and around 30 laps. But that pit window going to change things substantially. So we may see, everybody come down for wholesale pit stops at the end of stages 1 and 2. And depending on how the fuel lasts, we could wind up seeing that money stop around lap 100 or so. So we'll have to keep that in mind, because I'll tell you what, folks, these drivers are ready to rock and roll. I know for those of us here at SRM, we're ready to rock and roll. With about 10 seconds left in the warm-up, we just want to take a look at some of these paint schemes. Of course, Tony Burt, that you had just heard from, he is the chief cook and bottle washer at A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance. Of course, the title sponsor of MNN Xfinity Series Racing here on Sim Racing Media. Ron Fitting in the Black Bullet Chevrolet Silverado. Once again, another Chevy-heavy evening, as there are just 4 Toyotas. Everything's switching around. 4 Toyotas and 2 F-150s in the field tonight. As we're going to get a chance to see everybody here gridding up. We'll pull up the qualifying results. 3 drivers not laying down a time. And I'll tell you what, those 2 from All Smiles Racing, you watch what John Wilco's about to do, because I'm telling you right now, folks, he's always got something up his sleeve. He's a crafty coal cracker, if you will. In fact, that just became his nickname, John Wilco, the crafty coal cracker from McAdoo, Pennsylvania. As we're waiting for Jeremy Paris to go ahead and get in the machine. There he is. Want to take a look at our starting grid here. Jeremy Paris going to lead us off from the pole position, joined on the front row by Aaron Mack in the number 31 Harbor Freight Chevrolet Silverado. Brandon Minto going to be on the inside of row number 2, joined by Cross Junction, Virginia's very own Jeff Carson in the number 9. Channing Ballou in the double 8, Michael Irvin's number. Going to be starting on the inside of row number 3 with Bennett Allen, the 2022 Xfinity Series champion, on the outside of row number 3. Row number 4 going to have Chris Claude and Sylvain Jolie as the featured drivers in row number 5 are Gabriel Lafreniere and Mark Brewster. Tony Burt and Ron Fitting make up row number 6 as the crafty cold cracker John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania will be alongside Randall Watkins in row 7. Row number 8, will have Steve Herring in it as Raymond Ferreira opting to either start from pit road or start shotgun on the field. So for the time being, Steve Herring going to start shotgun on the field as the iRacing.com pace car works its way through the 3-4 complex. Folks, this is the last time I'll say it, and we'll get back to our normal green flag call next week. But Tony Trapasso will always be with us in our hearts. And not a day goes by that we're not going to miss him. So it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point safety harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Brandon Minto getting the early jump here. Just behind Jeremy Paris, as Paris has already begun to run away by about almost 0.2 of a second. Looks like he's up to 0.17 as they haul it down into turn number 3. We see the 31 of Aaron Mack trying to use the high side. In the pre-race, I was talking to Bennett Allen. As they go 3 wide, Sylvain Joly in the middle, wisely deciding to tuck in behind Aaron Mack. All of a sudden, nearly 3 wide goes Jeff Carson, as he obviously got one heck of a run out of that as well. Sylvain Joly, all kinds of loose going down the backstretch. Not sure what's causing them. We'll drop in here on our zoom cam and see if this is something going on. We can see those hands holding steady, but the rear end of that truck wants to step out. We may start to see him having to turn right to go left to keep the Axon LED Toyota Tundra underneath it. So an interesting start right now for Sylvain Joly as Jeremy Paris, Brandon Minto, and Channing Ballou starting to break away from the field. And I mean, we're going to be hearing those names all night long. Three wide, oh my, goes Alan, Channing Ballou, and Jeremy Paris, still holding it 3 wide. I hope Channing's got a mouthful of Zin right now, because he's going to have to keep those nerves under control. Looks like Aaron Mack now working his way in here. They're going to string out single file now that they've debated who's going to get the real estate. Side by side goes Bennett Allen and Brandon Minto. This is almost a replay from last night in the Xfinity Series. Minto holding the high line, which is the opposite of the way that it was last night. Bennett Allen found out last night that using the high line rips the right rear. Ooh, he catches a little bit of that apron and slides up nearly into Minto. A good save from Bennett Allen as they cross the start-finish line here on lap number 6. Still side by side are Bennett Allen and Brandon Minto. They aren't about to give it up as they are coming out of turn 2 loose. You can see Chris Claude having the right rear step out from underneath the 10 machine, as still fender to fender now Minto and Bennett Allen are. Bennett Allen opting to take the apron here, as he is hovering just above Brandon Minto. Now Aaron Mack deciding he wants to get in here and give a little do-si-do action, as Minto is holding off Aaron Mack, and all of a sudden Bennett Allen has figured it out. This is almost an old school Daytona move, as you can drift between the 2 cars behind you. You can take the air off the nose of each of those cars. You can use that for your own advantage, and it keeps that bubble of air right around the nose of that truck. And now they go single file. Now, if Minto and Mack could figure out how to work together, they could take they could take Bennett Allen in a heartbeat. Door handle to door handle as we cross the start-finish line. Aaron Mack, your new race leader, pulling ahead just outside the grasp of Bennett Allen as Bennett Allen's about to be put down by Brandon Minto. Minto thinking about using Aaron Mack as a pick. These three drivers already running away from the rest of the field. In fact, they've got themselves a little five-car posse here. All of a sudden, the 88 of Channing Ballou out of Pensacola, Florida, he starts getting himself cranked up here. He wants a little bit of piece of this action, as he's now side by side with Brandon Minto. Minto and Ballou still trying to sort themselves out. That allows Bennett Allen to start putting some distance between himself and those two drivers. Mark Brewster in the 73 Blackhawk Chevrolet Camaro chasing down, I'm sorry, not Camaro, but Silverado, chasing down his fellow Silverado driver, Tony Burt, as they roll it out of turn 4. The crafty coal cracker, John Wilco, coming out of turn 4, taking the apron. He's already up 6 positions from where he had started. But folks, remember, he did not qualify, so this is all coming from the rear, as he had started in 16th position on the timing line. Ray Ferreira opting not to come out on the track for the race. As we take a look, Jeremy Paris now hovering just ahead of Brandon Minto, as Minto has already fallen back considerably. Minto knows that he can run up here with Mack, Ballou, and Allen, but maybe trying to save some of that equipment as we get deeper into the race tonight. We see Aaron Mack now opening up a just less than 1/10 of a second lead over Ballou, and believe me, once Ballou gets up there, he's one of those drivers that can absolutely set sail and make this happen night after night. As it goes, Aaron Mack, Channing Ballou, Bennett Allen, 1, 2, 3. Jeremy Paris running in 4th position with Brandon Minto in 5th. Side by side goes Channing Ballou and Aaron Mack. Ballou getting the edge over Mack as the 31 Harbor Freight takes second. Jeremy Paris on his way. Ooh, gives him a little love tap there. Not sure what that was for. We might see it again here. I didn't think there was any bad blood between Ballou and Paris, but they're down here right now getting the torches and pitchforks all warmed up. That opens the door for Brandon Minto to come up here into 4th position. And he says, okay, if you guys are going to wreck, I want to be in the best position possible to take away that second spot just behind Channing Ballou. Three wide all of a sudden just behind Ballou goes Minto, Allen, and Mack. Mack in the middle does a little switchery just underneath now Bennett Allen. Here comes Aaron Mack again, knifing his way underneath Brandon Minto. He's going to be helped along here by Jeff Carson, who's decided he's seen enough and wants to get involved. He knows how the numbers are going to be. Brandon Minto getting a run on the high side. He manages to pull ahead of Aaron Mack, and now Bennett Allen leads him, but Jeff Carson suddenly deciding he wants to get here and fight it out for the top 5. And Jeff Carson, one of those drivers that's usually very patient. We see him kind of hanging out for a while. Has suddenly decided he wants to go door to door with Aaron Mack. Right now, taking a look at Jeremy Paris as he goes past our camera here on the front stretch. Ballou, Paris, Allen, Minto, and Carson, your top 5. Aaron Mack, Sylvain Joly, John Wilco, Mark Brewster, and Tony Burt round out the top 10. And of course, Tony was saying he's got to finish ahead of Brandon Minto. So believe me, I'm sure Tony is out here driving his heart out as we're on lap number 20, working our way toward lap 30 for the conclusion of stage 1. So we've already gotten 2/3 of the way through stage 1. No caution for cause yet, as we've got 134 of these things to get around. I want to welcome everyone into our YouTube.com live chat. I see Naughty XLX Wolf Gaming says, let's go. The Addison DeRosiers, I'm going to go with that, says, go Minto. Glad to have you all with us tonight. I see Mark Brewster listed as having crashed, and we are under caution. Let's see what happened with the Brewster. We see Mark Brewster here in the 73. Rolling out of turn 2. The rear end just comes along with him. And right into the safer barrier. And right about now is when you want to be on the binders trying to get it brought back under control, because you can get a little bit of bear bond on there and put that fender back on the right front of the 73. But if you hit that inside non-safer barrier, that's generally the end of your evening. We'll see if we can go back and take another look at this, as we're going to watch from right up here at our zoom cam. We can see him holding a steady wheel, and it just steps out on him. Definitely a single car deal there, as we don't have race control tonight. So definitely this caution being brought out by Mark Brewster. have to forgive us for that radio silence there, as I'm going to be pulling some double duty here, running race control as well as, unfortunately, we don't have a dedicated race control for this evening. So you'll have to forgive the errant graphic in the middle of the screen. But right now, Channing Ballou, finger on the button. He's opted for the high line. He'll be joined on the front row by Jeremy Paris, Jeff Carson, Brandon Minto, and Sylvain Joly. Your top 5, as we're going to have about a 5-lap sprint here to the conclusion of stage 1. Channing Ballou hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway. The Florida native getting himself all nice and wound up here. Side by side goes Brandon Minto. All of a sudden, Channing Ballou coming down to pit early, just before the closing of pit road. Cycles Jeremy Paris up here as they come down the back chute. Pit road going to close this time by, as side-by-side are Brandon Minto and Aaron Mack coming through 3 and 4. Neither of them giving the other any kind of room or real estate. They are door handle to door handle as they cross the start-finish line. Pit road going to close this time, as now it's going to be Paris, Mack, and Minto. And all of a sudden up here, Tony Burt. Now, Tony Burt came up here with fresh tires after stopping on lap 23 during the caution. Oh, wow, what a block from Aaron Mack. As Bennett Allen is now crashed. I don't know what's going on with Bennett. Tony Burt here on lap number 29 trying to get himself a stage win, as he is about to go hammer and tongs with Aaron Mack. This is the final lap of stage 1. Tony Burt going for the stage win, coming down the backstretch. My goodness, this is going to be interesting. As all of a sudden, Tony Burt shoots to the top of the leaderboard. He has just got himself 10 bonus points as they cross the start-finish line. Tony Burt going to be your stage 1 winner. Just waiting right now as the caution flag flies for the end of stage number 1. Tony Burt gets the stage win, followed by Jeremy Paris, Aaron Mack, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Sylvain Joly, Randall Watkins, John Wilco, Ron Fitting, and Steve Herring. And I can't wait to talk to our stage winner, Tony Burt, who has just decided he wants to change up the pit strategy. Hey, Tony, it's Dave up at the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy, sir?
I do. How are you, Dave?
I'm good. Look at you, stage 1 winner. I saw you came down on lap number 23, got some fresh shoes there on the number 4, and look at you getting your 10 bonus points.
Strategy racing, buddy. Strategy racing.
What's your secret? Do you have a secret spotter?
Yeah, I do have a spotter. Yeah, I do.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, Raymond spotting for me. Ferrara. Yeah, we knew we needed points. I mean, we were 4 behind Minto. Now we're 1. So we just got to keep playing smart. Hopefully, some wrecks will happen and some people get taken out. So.
Well, Tony, listen, that was a fantastic end to stage 1. Of course, you're going to stay out while everybody else goes ahead and dives down pit road. But how was the 4 feeling with the as you got deeper into the race?
Felt fine. I felt really good. I don't have the talent to catch some of them guys, honestly. So, I probably got a 10th place car, and I need to have a 4th place car. So, strategy is the only way we're going to be able to do it. We got to hope for some cautions, for some people to have some unlucky cautions, honestly, for us to have a chance to carry this on through the playoffs. But.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations. I'm excited. That's exciting, man. I'm up here trying to be not, unbiased, but, I'm trying to be fair and balanced, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
I'm sure of it.
Well, I'll tell you, this Jack Dowel lot cleaner Chevy, man, it is fast, fast, fast. And the paint job's brand new tonight. We put that on today and got that all wrapped up, and it feels good. It feels good. We're really we're enjoying ourselves, and if nothing else, we're gonna make a good showing.
All right, brother man. Well, listen, God bless you. Have fun the rest of the way, and go out there and try to do it all over again.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
That, of course, the voice of the great Tony Burt, driver of the number 4, a lot cleaner property management and maintenance Chevrolet Silverado, as he is your Stage 1 winner. That's definitely a relief, as now he's pulled within just 1 point of Jeremy Paris. As we are under caution here, I want to thank everybody for tuning in on our youtube.com live stream. I see good old John Bawalda here, Jack Dowel Motorsports. That's a good-looking number 4 truck. You're darn right it is, John. Everybody getting themselves settled back in here. A nice clean start to the beginning of this race. Just one caution for cause. It was Mark Brewster all by his lonesome spinning out. So nothing major, no hurt feelings, just a little bit of hurt pride for Brewster. As Ding Dong DoorDash is here with the all-important Dairy Queen. Always want to thank our sponsors and our providers of the deliciousness that is ice cream. Oh yeah, that is good. So when we go back, green flag racing, going to be Tony Burt leading us back to green, Ron Fitting in second, Jeremy Paris in third, Aaron Mack, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Sylvain Jolie, John Wilco, Bennett Allen, and Chris Claude going to make up your top 10. Just 12 cars on the lead lap. And believe you me, I'm sure with 9-lap older tires, Tony Burt and Ron Fitting about to be steamrolled here. And if there's anybody that I would trust to get out of the way and allow those faster cars through, it would be Tony Burt and Ron Fitting. .35 laps. We'll be at lap 36 when we come back green, working our way toward lap number 60 as we come out of turn 4. The iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. We are going to let you folks at home turn it up here on Sim Racing Media. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway here in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series. Dave Regal with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth live in Norristown, Pennsylvania. On Sim Racing Media, YouTube.com. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. As we have saved the best for last here in the SNN Family of Racing Series on Tuesday night for the Truck Series. Taking a look right now at Jeff Carson, who's side by side with Aaron Mack. Carson trying to find a way around Max safely. And Max still holding on to that top line. Just about 12 laps to go here in stage number 2, as you know, a lot of stage 2 is chewed up by the caution, and then of course, you know, we had our Turn It Up segment and then a commercial break. But to be completely honest, it's been pretty quiet here on the ranch. Jeremy Paris leads this piece right now by about a tenth of a second over Channing Ballou. Bennett Allen just behind him. Brandon Minto chasing down Ballou. Jeff Carson running in 5th. Aaron Mack in 6th. Sylvain Jolie in 7th. John Wilco in 8th. Randall Watkins in 10th. And the great Tony Burt, after winning stage number 1, has drifted back into 10th position. But I'm sure we're going to see Tony work his way back up through the field shortly, as he came down on lap 23 for tires last. He's obviously going to make those last to the end of stage 2, which is fine. He's definitely got the distance to be able to do it, and this is pretty much the time in any race to try to test that out. Things elsewhere on the field starting to kind of cool down. Chris Claude running in 12th position, 13 cars on the lead lap, as Steve Herring brings up the rear here in the 89. Gabriel Lafreniere running in 6th position right now. Mark Brewster dropping out of the race after his earlier mishap, as that wasn't supposed to happen there. There we go. A little bit of camera trickery, if you will. But you can see just how close these drivers are as we get right in here to the cockpit of the 88 of Channing Ballou. We can see Ballou holding a pretty deal, as Leonard Wood would have said. Ballou not really shaking here as he gets a good run on Paris into 1 and 2. We can see him, we can hear those RPMs go up just a little bit as he catches the draft of Jeremy Paris. That's not the throttle so much as it is the draft picking up that engine and dragging the car forward. just behind Brandon Minto. Bennett Allen getting a little loose, coming out of 4 and onto the front stretch. He's suddenly being challenged by Jeff Carson. Carson looking to see if he can gather up that 4th position. He does, as he takes the opportunity away from Bennett Allen, drifting up in front of him, removing the momentum now. All of a sudden, trying to go to Texas two-step. Do-si-do goes Bennett Allen underneath Jeff Carson. Carson's skilled enough that I know that we're going to see him come back again. That's for sure. Brandon Minto running in 3rd position, just ahead of that battle, as Bennett Allen and Jeff Carson have all of a sudden decided to get out the hammer and tongs here in the closing laps of stage number 2. It's a drag race down the front stretch. As Allen and Carson, Allen getting loose in turn 2 just allowed Carson to drive away like he stole that number 9. He definitely stole the position away. Chris Claude starting to close in now on Ron Fitting for 11th position. Jeremy Paris, knowing that, Bennett Allen, knowing who does and who doesn't know or doesn't need stage points. As we're on lap 58, pit road about to close on lap number 59. So when they come by, that's when the pit road will close. Nobody coming down for an early pit this time around. It's going to be a 2-car shootout here atop the pile. Brandon Minto just ahead of Jeff Carson. Aaron Mack and Bennett Allen rounding out the top 6. Tony Burt still going to get another bonus point this time around, so that should help his march into staying on the inside of the bubble to move on to the round of 8. And as we cross the start-finish line, this is the final lap of stage number 2 here at Kansas Speedway in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series. Channing Ballou chasing down Jeremy Paris. It looks like he's ready to make the move. He takes a little bit of air right off the rear bumper of the Silverado driven by Paris. These two trucks going at it side by side. This is the best race that we've seen all night within the race. As they come out of turn 4 here at the conclusion of stage number 2. Looks like it's going to be Jeremy Paris winning stage number 2. As Tony Burt crosses the start-finish line, the caution flag will fly, and that will conclude stage 2. Jeremy Paris brings home the stage 2 green and white checkered flag. Channing Ballou finishes in 2nd. Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, and Aaron Mack round out the top 5. Bennett Allen, Sylvain Joly, the crafty coal cracker John Wilco, Randall Watkins, and Tony Burt all being awarded bonus points tonight for stage 2. Rich Jet in our YouTube.com live chat cheering on John Wilco. A little teammate action there. Let's see if we can find Jeremy Paris. And of course we can't. If Jeremy Paris is listening to the broadcast, I hope that he hops into Discord so we can interview him. Wholesale pit stops this time around as the entire field should be coming down. or at least all of the cars on the lead lap from Paris down to Herring. Now, here's something to watch, and I know, folks, that you all know that I'm a little bit biased with Tony Burt here. But now Tony Burt, when everybody was on the same pit strategy, Tony Burt stepped out of line and came down on lap 23. He was able to make those tires last to the end of stage 1, so it was just a 7-lap shootout there. But it did get him the stage win. So if something comes out late, now that he's on the same cycle as everybody else, he's going to have he should have the same number of tires as everyone else. So we're going to now see whether or not he plays the strategy game to try to finish ahead of Brandon Minto, as he had mentioned he has to finish ahead of tonight in order to transfer into the Elite 8 in our playoff standings. I want to thank the fine people at the Yuengling Brewery's facility down in Tampa, Florida, as Bongo Fizz is the libation of the evening. Yuengling, of course, America's oldest brewery, headquartered in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. They make a beautiful brew right on Montongo Street. Of course, the traditional lager and Yuengling Premium both brewed on Montongo Street. They have a second brewery in Mill Creek, or Port Carbon more formally. And, of course, their facility down in Tampa, Florida, which I have yet to go visit, but I've heard is fantastic. And quite frankly, can't wait till next spring when I hopefully get a chance to visit that during spring training, if I get a chance to go down there again. Spring training was just an exciting experience, and I encourage any baseball fan that has the ability to try to do that. When we go back green, it will be Jeremy Parrish, Channing Ballou, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Aaron Mack, Bennett Allen, Sylvain Jolie, the Crafty Crow Cracker, John Wilco, Tony Burt, and Randall Watkins, your top 10. As we get ready to go side by side, the iRacing.com pace car lights go out, which means that we will be going back green flag racing this time by. The iRacing.com pace car bringing the field into the 3-4 complex for stage number 3. And this is what we've all been waiting for, folks, as there are just under 70 laps to go now in this beast, which means it's going to be one heck of a finish here. After watching so many of these drivers go at it the way that they have. But right now, the man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. We enter the Geico restart zone. The green flag waves, and we are back underway. Oh, and we're going to be under caution. That would be Bennett Allen up into the wall. And we don't go under caution. 10-4. Let's take a run back and see what happened with Bennett, as he was getting loose here in turns 1 and 2 and just stepped his way out of line. We're going to keep an eye right on this number 15 black and white truck here. He gets right behind Carson, shoots below Carson, gets himself loose, makes contact with Carson, gets into the wall, but manages to keep it clean As we'll run it back once more. Because I'll tell you what, that could have been a caution right there. Maybe it should have been. As they make that contact and he goes up into the wall. Fortunately, he was up against the wall, so maybe it shouldn't have been a caution. As, of course, that keeps him from hurting anybody else, that's for sure. So he's able to limp it back down to pit road. Brandon Minto now has control of the field, followed by Jeff Carson, who has just come out of the woodwork to take P2. Brandon Minto leads Jeff Carson by about 0.2 of a second. However, I just hear a call for race control, but not sure what they're asking for. There's no need to fear, Underdog is here. As I am covering race control right now, no need for caution. Minto, Carson, Paris, Ballou. This little group here has broken away with Aaron Mack, so a little 5-car breakaway with 0.8 of a second back to Sylvain Joly. Then 1.4 seconds back to Tony Burt and the crafty coal cracker John Wilco, as Wilco works the low side of Tony Burt. Wilco back in his traditional rolled gold Chevrolet. Rolled gold, of course, a product of Unique Pretzels. Absolutely delicious. A Pennsylvania classic. So glad to see the blue and gold, rolled gold paint scheme there. And for reasons I'm not quite sure of and have never had the opportunity to ask, why Epcot? But all of a sudden, Tony Burt comes up on the rear bumper of Wilco and takes the air off, loosening him ever so gently. If that wasn't a Dale Earnhardt Sr. move, I don't know what was. He never even touched him, just took the air off the 62. In fact, let's run that back and take a look, because that was a thing of beauty from Tony Burt. We're going to see right here from our chopper cam. Get to the chopper. Go now. We see him getting right up there. Never make contact. It was enough to make the rear end of the 62 wobble just a little. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. The 62 has to get out of the way. And sure enough, Tony Burt manages to take care of business, as it were. So now Tony Burt running in 7th position after that crafty move. But all of a sudden, our race leader, Jeff Carson, is doing battle up here with Brandon Minto. Carson in the 9 Toyota, getting that Tundra all kinds of wound up here down the back chute. He's being pushed along by Jeremy Paris. Paris knows how to lead this pace, and I think he's considering pitching to the rear bumper of that Tundra driven by Jeff Carson out of Cross Junction, Virginia. Carson, sliding right up in front of Minto as we come down the back chute. Brandon Minto stepping to the inside, a little do-si-do action, as now he shoots past the left side of Jeff Carson's Tundra, and now Carson, thinking he might do the same thing, he peeks to the inside, he's pushing him down through the trioval on the apron. Now peeks to the inside. He thought maybe he'd deke him out a little bit there. Almost a little trickery from old Jeff Carson. So he thought he'd deke him left and go right, but Brandon Minto from Norman, Oklahoma is not shaken one bit. Oklahoma leads the field past the start-finish line here on lap number 78. So less than 60 to go now, as we've got 78 laps in the books. Jeff Carson now looking again to the inside. He knows he can get the run here on Minto. And believe me, if you give Jeff Carson enough time to study you, he will master you all at the same time. Now he's going to be pushed around by Jeremy Paris as they come through the tri-oval. Carson on the apron this time. Minto stays high. That's going to burn that right rear off of Minto as they haul it off down here into 1 and 2. On exit, we just need to see Carson get a run. He doesn't drift up enough, getting the run out of the 2. And I think that's probably what's missing from this formula. Jeff Carson starting to fade a little bit now as the door is open for Channing Ballou. Maybe Carson cooked a little bit too much out of the 9. He knows that he can run with these guys now with about 55 laps to go here in this piece. As we watch the lap count go up, we know that the time is running out. As Carson, in fact, will take a quick peek at it here. Jeff Carson, not a playoff driver, but obviously up here to give fits to Jeremy Paris, which, you know, that's just kind of fun to watch because, you know, we were talking about it in Sunday night in the Cup Series. Listen, whether you're a playoff driver or not, you've earned the right to be whatever position you are on the track. That doesn't mean that you have to cede the position away and just roll over and die. No. That means that you have earned the right to be where you are, and if you've got a faster truck than Jeremy Paris, if you're Jeff Carson, then you've got a faster truck, period. End of discussion, end of story. But right now it looks like Paris is starting to run away from Carson. Chris Claude going on the low side of Ron Fitting. Fitting in the Black Bullet number 3 Chevrolet Silverado. Rolls it out of turn 4. They are side by side coming through the tri-oval. This is the battle for 10th position. So, of course, another bonus point at stake here. Chris Claude losing that battle to Ron Fitting. Channing Ballou now our race leader. He's followed by Brandon Minto and Jeremy Paris. It just seems to be, no matter where Brandon Minto is, whether it's in the Xfinity Series or here in the Truck Series, he is a threat to the leader. As we see them rolling down the front stretch, Jeremy Paris not coming off that rear bumper of Minto. He's peeking to the inside now to see if maybe he can get a run here on entry to turn 3. He's going to steal some draft away from the 12. He's going to get that run. The 12, though, if he stays high, that's going to open the door for Paris to shoot down to the inside and start challenging him once again. And he's trying it right here coming through the tri-oval, but Brandon Minto slides in front of him, almost throwing a block. So Jeremy Paris has decided he wants to just be glued to that bumper and maybe make the same move that Tony Burt did just a little while ago, taking some of the air off that rear bumper and making the pass. Baloo, Minto, and Paris 1, 2, 3. Paris about to go for 2, as it's going to be now Baloo, Paris, Minto rolling out of 2. Wow, what a Ooh, they make contact, they touch. Brandon Minto runs away from Jeremy Paris. My goodness, there was just enough contact to slow Paris down. That allows Jeff Carson to draw in closer to the podium now, as he's going to go side by side with Minto. Carson is like a shark and he smells blood in the water. So while they decide what's going on here, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway as Channing Ballou leads this piece right now about 0.7 of a second over Brandon Minto. Just got a tweet from Greg Murphy from the Philadelphia Phillies, and there may be a possibility of watching a Phillies playoff game from home plate later on this season as they get to the playoffs. Of course, they seem pretty well ensconced in the wild card race, so hopefully that would be something exciting to end the season with this year. Sorry, got a little distracted by baseball as Greg Murphy of the Philadelphia Phillies radio booth just kind of tossed that one out there in Twitter world. So here on lap number 97, your broadcaster distracted by baseball as we are in the middle of the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series playoffs. The Philadelphia Phillies, of course, poised to go to the playoffs this season. And I guess, well, now is as good a time as any to pull up some of that as we wait for this race to shake out. Of course, in the wild card for the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies up 3.5 games over the bubble, which is currently looking from the outside in of Miami. So as it would stand right now, the Phillies would wind up playing, let's see, at 79 and 65. They would be playing Milwaukee, which that would be exciting, especially to be in the building if Bob Uecker is there for a 3-game series at home, if Uecker makes the trip to Philadelphia. And of course, to be anywhere near the Phillies during the playoff season is always something exciting here in the city of brotherly love. Of course, sometimes when you think of our sports teams here in Philly, it's not brotherly love that you think of. Channing Ballou, Brandon Minto, Jeremy Paris, Aaron Mack, and Jeff Carson make up your top 5. Jeff Carson was just up doing battle for the lead. He's now trying to battle Aaron Mack as they are starting to put some distance between one another. Carson suddenly deciding it's time to come down pit road as he is going to be the first to come down pit road. He's going to be joined by Randall Watkins as Watkins makes the dive out of turn 4. So here on lap 100 with 35 to go, Carson and Watkins both coming down pit road. Now Carson will be smart and probably not have to take a full tank of fuel. He'll take just enough and maybe a few laps extra depending on the green-white checkered situation. That'll put him down a lap as Channing Ballou goes around him. But eventually Channing Ballou is going to have to come down pit road. He can't make it to the end from here with 34 to go. .30 laps to go now. Sylvain Joly and Gabriel Lafreniere, the next 2 drivers to come down pit road. So obviously this is a teammate situation. So that's an interesting development here. So now teammates starting to come down together as Carson came down on 99. Not a teammate, but Randall Watkins and his Ford comes down pit road. Now Aaron Mack drops down, so it just leaves Ballou, Minto, Paris, and Wilco atop the pile. And you have to think that the crafty coal cracker has something up his sleeve tonight in the rolled gold number 62 Chevrolet Silverado. Channing Ballou, though, he leads this piece, about to be harassed by the lap car of Ron Fitting. Fitting down a couple of laps, but obviously just getting those fresh tires helps him work his way around Ballou. Now Minto, Wilco, and Mack all down pit road. Mack coming off. Brandon Minto and John Wilco both in as they're going to come down. That leaves just Ballou and Paris. And at this point, the question becomes, who's going to blink? And it's Ballou. Ballou is now diving down pit road. That leaves the last driver out here not having come down to make the money stop to be Jeremy Paris. Jeremy Paris all out here on his lonesome. But now watch what happens as Channing Ballou comes down. He's going to get 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast here on lap 107. He'll have the freshest tires until Paris comes down. And sometimes you don't want to be the first car, you don't want to be the last car. But once Paris comes down, that should cycle Jeff Carson up to the lead. And we're under caution as Channing Ballou may have had himself an incident here coming off of pit road. Oh no. That's not what he wanted to see. As he's coming off pit road, something's wrong there with the 88 as he's trying to get it feeling right. Oh. There was something wrong. Let's just take a look back here. There was something wrong from the moment that they dropped the jack stand on the left-hand side. You can almost see, as we're going to zoom in here, you can almost see maybe this was some kind of a glitch from iRacing. As he doesn't come all the way down, it just seemed, well, obviously from here we can see that it came all the way down. But there was something wrong from the get-go. You can see that left front tire wobbling around. Maybe a hardware malfunction? That's weird. Well, we may have to talk to Channing and find out what happened there. As we are under caution here with 25 to go, that allows Jeremy Paris to come in nice and easy. You almost wonder if Jeff Carson wants to take a chance and grab some fresh tires one more time so he can be competitive with Paris, who's now going to have the newest tires on the track. Let's see if we can get a hold of Channing Ballou. And it doesn't look like he is in our Discord channel. So unfortunately not able to ask him what went wrong, as race radio was dead silent. Nobody wanted to ask. Of course, now I'm sitting here expectantly staring at my phone, watching Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it right now, to see if we're going to get some free playoff tickets for the Phillies here in 2023. Jeff Carson does opt to come down pit road. Let's see what's going on here with the 9. 4 tires. There it is. He's going to come down for those fresh tires with 24 to go. He's going to have to navigate a lot of this field. So an interesting call from Carson as he wants fresh tires. Of course, that gives him about a 10-lap newer set of tires than he had previously after coming down on lap number 99. So he's going to come down here, and let's see where he pops out. Right now, it looks like timing and scoring keeping Carson in second position. Timing and scoring may need a moment to catch up. As right now, timing and scoring says that it's Paris, Carson, Minto, Burt. All of those drivers, of course, were down laps. They'll all get them because Paris and Carson came back in for tires. But that'll put the freshest tires up atop the pile and give Jeff Carson probably his best chance all year at victory lane. The pace car coming into 3. I don't see the rest of the field yet, as they're just now catching up. Pace car diving down pit road, single file. This is kind of an interesting restart. As we get back underway, everybody trying to fight for position now. Jeremy Paris atop the pile. He's going to lead Jeff Carson and Brandon Minto. Nobody getting any black flags. No black flags on the restart. Nice and clean. It's going to go Paris, Carson, Minto. 1, 2, 3 into turn 3. Got 114 of 134. As now Minto looks to the outside. Ballou just laid down the fastest lap of the race at 30.57. As he's coming up here with his torch and pitchfork ready to rock and roll. This little 4-car breakaway led by Jeremy Paris, tailed by Channing Ballou, is going to be who we see the rest of the way with 20 to go now. Tony Burt in number 4. He is battling it out with Sylvain Joly, our neighbor from the north. Usually America, not a big deal with Canada. Canada's kind of like it's like a loft apartment above a really great party. And it looks like tonight it's the other way around as Sylvain, whoa! Tony Burt nearly taking the nose off of the 31 and the 62. Slides back in the line here behind Sylvain Joly. They're still duking it out behind him. Oh my. And Minto has now, that front group has now pulled out nearly 3 seconds at 2.8 seconds between Minto. Oh, the wrong way goes. Oh my. That's the 31 of Aaron Mack as he gets himself turned back around and we are under caution. Let's run this back and see what happened here. Of course, this happened on the front stretch, so we're going to see this right from here. We see the 31 coming into the front stretch. Oh, and an unintentional hook from Tony Burt. That one's going to be a tough one to call, as we're going to have to run this back. Tony Burt thinks it may be net code, as I hear that on race radio. They're going to look at it from the chopper. They did not touch. That is indeed what net code is. That's iRacing anticipating something that hasn't happened yet. And sure enough, That's exactly what just broke out there. In fact, we'll see if we can check that out from the far chase. And we're going to go right here to Tony's rear. And here's the 31 of Aaron Mack on the inside of Tony Burt. They never touched. So, of course, that's what the replay is for. Is Jeff Carson going to stay out? Everybody else coming in now for fresh tires with 16 laps to go. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I want to thank you for making the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series a part of your evening. And, of course, we want to thank you for joining us here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway, where we are about to be back underway here for a 14-lap run to the end, all things being equal. After a neck code incident brought out this caution. Jeff Carson going to have control of the field with Randall Watkins on the outside. So it's going to be Carson, Watkins, Paris, Ballou, Minto, Jolie, Wilco, Burt, Fitting, and Lafreniere, your top 10 when we go back green flag racing. And we're back underway. Jeff Carson getting a jump over the field. He's suddenly being harassed by Jeremy Paris. He's basically going to just spend the next 13 laps having to block Paris if he so chooses, but gets out of the way and allows the momentum of Paris to carry through. Now Paris with 8-lap newer tires on the 05. He's going to bring along Channing Ballou and Brandon Minto. As Minto in the number 12 Miller Lite Chevrolet Silverado is going to tuck right behind Jeremy Paris. Channing Ballou, though, he's looking for some kind of real estate that he can steal away, as we are here in Kansas, so kind of a Trail of Tears situation, if you will. As now Jeff Carson is going to be all over the rear bumper of Brandon Minto. Minto trying to hold him off as Carson is all over that rear bumper. We can see that there's really almost no space. Carson now dives to the inside. That forces Minto up, and now Carson takes that low line away, which is going to cook the bejesus out of those tires from the 12. It's going to take off some of his exit speed, if you will. Meanwhile, Jeremy Paris and Channing Ballou still up here duking it out, as the crafty coal cracker John Wilco starting to flirt with the top 4. As we've got a pair of battles going on, Wilco trying to challenge Jeff Carson, and Ballou trying to challenge Jeremy Paris. Now Ballou backs off and allows Paris a little bit of room as we dive down the backstretch once more with 10 to go. Meanwhile, Wilco is side by side with Jeff Carson, as Wilco on the fresh tires, as they're just coming up to temperature now with 9 to go. It takes about 5 laps for those tires to come up to temperature and to get their hot pressure up. Carson, of course, already wound up. He's now fender to fender with Wilco, who rubs the wall coming out of turn 2. He holds it steady, and we maintain green flag conditions here. A 4-car battle now with Jeff Carson holding on to 4th position. He's losing ground, though, on Brandon Minto and on that podium spot that he was so working for. Meanwhile, Jeremy Paris side by side with Channing Ballou, as Ballou from Pensacola, Florida, ready to take him down. As Channing Ballou comes through the tri-oval and across the start-finish line on the apron just ahead of Paris. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of that as we get deeper into this race. Meanwhile, John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, he is doing his best to try to stay ahead of Cross Junction, Virginia's very own Jeff Carson. Carson just dips to the low side. He gets that fender right up against the 62 and manages to get once again even with John Wilco. Remember, Tony Bird told us before the race that he has to finish ahead of Brandon Minto. And now we see Wilco getting the edge over Carson. Jeff Carson getting the edge on John Wilco. John Wilco leading Jeff Carson now, who's about to do battle with Tony Bird. Of course, Tony on that transfer bubble needs every position he can get here in the final stage with 4 laps to go. Meanwhile, a battle still raging atop the pile. Tony Bird back here duking it out with our neighbor from the north, Sylvain Joly. Channing Ballou, though, running away from Jeremy Paris, as there is plenty of space between the two of them, 0.2 of a second as a matter of fact. Tony Bird, though, trying to get that 5th position, an extra set of bonus points from him. If he can work his way through here with 3 to go, he can secure a top 5 finish. And now he works his way right around Sylvain Joly, who's still trying to hold the high side. Channing Ballou with 3 to go rolls out of turn 4. He can see the start-finish line. And as they cross the start-finish line, the popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 to go. John Wilco running in 4th position. He can see Brandon Minto, but he can't get up there to him without a caution here to bunch the field back up. And as long as nothing bad happens here, we should see a standard finish as John Wilco, we're bouncing back and forth. Tony Burt back to 6th position as Sylvain Joly able to work him over. They come out of turn 4. They can see the white flag in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Ballou, Paris, and Minto right now as it goes. Your podium finishers. John Wilco running in 4th. Sylvain Joly running in 5th, but he's being challenged for 5th position by Tony Burt as they roll it out of turn 2 one last time. Tony Burt looking for the edge as Jeff Carson has fallen back to 7th position. He was poised to make the run for the win a little bit earlier. Channing Ballou getting ready to cross the start-finish line. He does, but we're still watching Tony Burt try to hold it just ahead of Sylvain Joly. And Sylvain Joly bests Tony Burt at the start-finish line to secure the top 5 position. Channing Ballou brings home the checkered flag, followed by Jeremy Paris and Brandon Minto. What a battle between Sylvain Joly and Tony Burt. John Wilco finishes in 4th. What a finish to that race, deeper in the field than our usual 1-2 segment. It's always exciting when you can hear the drivers congratulate each other on a fun run. As Channing Ballou going to bring it back here to the start-finish line. Burn it down because you've earned it. Hey, Channing, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Dave.
Well, once again, you bring home the checkered flag here. And I'll tell you what an exciting finish to this race. I mean, take us through those last couple of laps during stage 3 here and just how you managed to battle it out past Jeremy.
Well, Jeremy told me he made the wrong adjustments on pit road, and I think I just made the right ones and got a chance where the top never come in, because if the top ever comes in, this place is extremely hard to pass at. But the first 15 laps, you gotta get what you can get, and hopefully you save enough to keep your tires on it. And I felt like we did that. But little 10-15 lap shootouts here can be fun, but it can also be very struggling because it is hard to pass here. I mean, but it's also very draft sensitive, which is fun at the same time. But overall, the truck did all the work. I didn't really do anything special tonight.
Yeah, when you talk about draft sensitive, I mean, we had dropped into a couple of cockpits, and you could hear the RPMs as you got closer, pick up in that normal super speedway fashion. I mean, how important was that in your strategy tonight?
Oh, it was super important. I mean, we were coming down the front stretch lifting. We were getting in the corner lifting a lot to save tire there on the longer runs, and it paid off big time when we were able to get spread out and go to the top. We were pulling a lot of cars by a tenth, sometimes more, but you definitely have to manage the draft, and clean air is huge too, though. The leader's got a huge advantage, where if you're the second place truck like it was on Jeremy in that stage, in stage 2 coming to the end, I mean, there was nothing I could do. Trust me, I was running my guts out, and I just had a bad aero push behind him. There was nothing I could try. If I went to the bottom, it was just going to not have enough grip and not maintain enough momentum where that top was long run was killer. But you gotta like a place like this, Dave, where you can move around. Wish there was more, and I wish it kind of evened out a little bit more where if somebody had a really good truck working the bottom, it would work, and if someone had just a truck that worked on the top, it would work. But this low horsepower package, it's kind of very top heavy there at the end of a run.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I mean, obviously your ticket's punched already for the round of 8. What are we thinking as you go short track racing next week at Bristol?
Well, you know, what's crazy is we got 2 wild cards next round. We got Bristol and Talladega. Kind of got to run them both the same. Got to stay out of trouble, keep your nose clean, and make it to the end. And Bristol's going to be a dogfight. There's drivers here who are really good at Bristol. Jeremy will be ready to go. He's been getting better every week, and I think he's going to be in contention at Bristol and Talladega. I know that's going to be crazy because the wild card races, you just don't know what you're going to get. And I would like to say we have a good fast truck for Bristol, but you just never know around that place. It can get crazy. Just got to keep our nose clean. That's the biggest deal. If we can keep our nose clean, I think we've stacked enough bonus points here that we can carry ourselves with some decent finishes to the next round and ultimately set us up for a championship run. But just got to take it one race at a time. Like I said, Bristol, fun short track, so it'll be interesting.
All right, man. Well, listen, once again, congratulations. And I'm excited to see Bristol and Talladega. They're 2 of my favorite racetracks, but Talladega, of course, has a place right there in the middle of my chest. So good luck in those 2 races. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank tonight for this run?
Man, I got to thank everybody at Reaper Speed Lab for setting it up. They had a great setup this week, and it proved once again, I don't know where I'd be without them guys, but we'll go to, like I said, Talladega holds a good spot in my heart too, so it's home track, so we'll try to get a dub there.
All right, man. Well, listen, once again, congratulations, and we will see you next week at Bristol under the lights.
See you, man.
That, of course, our race winner, Channing Blue, in the number 88 Chevrolet Silverado. Next, and certainly not least, is Mr. Jeremy Paris, who took the 05 up here and battled it out all night long, no matter who was around him after qualifying on the pole. He still fell short of victory lane, but Jeremy, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir, Dave. Got you.
Hey, man, listen, after such a great run, for a qualifying effort, setting down the fast time, it's got to be a little bit heartbreaking not to bring home the win, but still, what a battle and what a show you put on tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean you're always after the win, but these draft tracks are kind of a shot in the dark. You just got to be at the right place at the right time. And Channing there had a pretty good run, and I was a little free there at the end, so I wasn't going to wreck us both trying to stay out there.
No, the last thing that you want to do is be that guy. And, in iRacing, we have enough of those guys. So to keep that in mind, I mean, it definitely moves things, to the perspective of don't be that guy, be a good sportsman, be a good competitor. And you absolutely did that tonight from start to finish.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it is, you know how these races are, Dave. There's not a whole heck of a lot of skill into it, so it brings some people up that
trust me, I'm the first.
Bad. Not that they're bad.
I'm the first to tell you
that draft.
I'm the first to tell you that back in the day when I had some racing gloves on, that I did well at these tracks just because they don't take as much talent as some of the other tracks that we run. And you absolutely took your talent, cranked it up to crazy, and put on a great race tonight. Now, next week we go short track racing to Bristol, and then 2 weeks after that we go to Talladega. What are you thinking as far as the round of 8?
Well, Talladega is always that shoot. Bristol, you might find out that I'm one of those guys that needs this draft. You never know.
Hey, I get it. Absolutely get it. They're definitely 2 of my favorite racetracks, so I can't wait to be calling those races. Before we cut you loose here, who do you need to thank for this run tonight?
Just my crew chief. He worked on the setup. I didn't get to work on it this week, so I want to thank him, and we'll see you in Bristol.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations, and yes, sir, we will see you in Bristol.
All right, thanks, Dave.
And last but certainly not least, oh, there we go. Last but certainly not least, the pride of Norman, Oklahoma, Mr. Brandon Minto. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Dave.
Man, listen, I just spent the last 2 nights watching you duke it out here in the top 3. I mean, what an incredible race tonight. I mean, and you had a bunch of different people come up and challenge for the lead, but it's almost like you guys said, not in my sandbox.
Yeah, I knew I ended up missing the last race we did, so I knew I had to try to compete for as many points as I could get. So this might have been one of the more aggressive races I've ever tried to race in. Like, I'm never normally too aggressive of a driver, but I knew I needed the points, so I was taking every opportunity I could get, but just came up just a little bit short tonight.
Well, I mean, that's all right. I mean, you've already got your ticket punched to the postseason here for the round of 8. I mean, what are you thinking as we get ready to go short track racing in Bristol and then super speedway racing at Talladega?
Yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride these next couple weeks. Like Bristol, I don't mind Bristol on the trucks. It's pretty fun. And then Dega, I love the restrictor plate tracks, and I'm looking forward to the next round. I'm happy. You telling me that just told me pretty much that I advanced. So I'm excited that I advanced next week after missing one of the rounds in round 1, or one of the weeks in round 1. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll finally I got my racing set up in my little house down here while I'm at training, so I can actually get some practice time in, unlike I did for Kansas this week. So hopefully I can do pretty well this next round.
Well, talk about humility. I mean, you know, it keeps you humble when you realize that you didn't have a whole lot of time to practice, but still wind up here on the podium. So congratulations for that, and a tip of the cap for skill, that's for sure. But before we cut you loose, as always, I know that you usually like to thank your uncle and for having some beers with you. Of course, tonight I was dipping my beak into the Yingling Bongo Fizz. But who do you need to thank for tonight's run?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to you for putting on a great broadcast, my parents tuning in, my uncle, like you were saying, drinking Miller Lights right alongside with me with my main sponsor on my truck. My brother, his wife Anna, their 2 kids, Vinny, Winnie, out there tuning in every week. That they look forward to hearing their name on the TV, so hopefully this can get them excited. And then my secondary sponsor, I want to give a shout out to Upside. With these terribly high gas prices, if you download the Upside app and use the promo code Brandon5623344, it'll get you an additional discount off your first tank of gas, and then it also allows you to use it for different types of groceries all around. And it's a good little app to download. It'll save you quite a bit of money. I've saved a couple $100 over the past year, so it's definitely a very good app to download.
Absolutely. I myself have downloaded the Upside app, used your code, and I am more than happy to get some money back, especially with the way gas prices are. So congratulations on the podium finish, and we'll see you next week at Bristol.
All right, see you then, Dave.
Well, folks, as the great Tony Trapasso would say, another one in the books here. And, you know, I did my best not to dwell too much on what makes me sad because, of course, I'm missing my friend. And I can't. I used to think to myself that I couldn't imagine a day without Tony, and here we are. And I can't wait to go celebrate his life on Thursday with Jonathan Leach. It's going to be a nice ride up to Syracuse as John's getting ready to fly into Philadelphia tomorrow. So glad to have him coming into town. And, of course, thankful for all of you who join us in the youtube.com live chat week after week and keep it exciting. As all of you who have tuned in, you know, of course, we're missing the Stony Benfield contingent, but all of you who have tuned in all season long, I want to thank each and every one of you for booing me and all of us here at Sim Racing Media through this time. And before we get out of here, we want to take one last look at our final results. Channing Ballou brings home the checkered flag. He's joined on the podium by Jeremy Paris and Brandon Minto. John Wilco finishes in 4th, and Sylvain Jolie, our neighbor from the north, rounds out the top 5. Tony Burt finishes in 6th position with the number 4 Chevrolet Silverado. He's followed just behind by Jeff Carson in 7th. Steve Herring, Ron Fitting, and Chris Claude round out your top 10. as Randall Watkins, Gabriel Lafreniere, Aaron Mack, Bennett Allen, Mark Brewster, and Ray Ferreira round out the rest of the field. So a good race tonight, a great competition as always, and we want to thank all of you as usual for making us a part of your evening. And tomorrow, as you walk down the road of life, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.